Hello, collectors. Steven here with a video that has nothing to do with action figures. Kind of, sort of, not really. Has to do with Godzilla as a whole, though. This is going to just be one take. I'm not going to do really any editing on this. I just kind of want to get the raw feeling of the moment right now, kind of. Many of you know, and there are going to be plenty of videos up about this. Nakajima died. That's a very it's a very weird thing to say. 88 years old, and the funny thing about that is saying that is because in saying that he's passed is that Godzilla died too, which is kind of weird to say because there's an unofficial, I guess you could say, rule in the Toho Bible that Godzilla cannot die. At the end of every Godzilla movie, there has to be some way that he can come back, whether it's an ambiguous ending where you don't know what the fate of Godzilla is, or at least the people don't know. Like in 1954, you don't actually know whether or not Godzilla's gone. Everyone up on the boat, they don't know for sure. They just assume that everything worked. Or at the end of GMK, you see the heart beating at the end. So that way it's implied Godzilla can come back in some way, shape, or form. Or at the end of versus Megaguirus, we hear his roar. But this time he's not coming back. He's gone. And that's really sad. You know, I feel for his family. It's as far as I know, he leaves behind one daughter. His wife passed away earlier this year. I know that, and I know that there were other health issues. He canceled a lot of convention dates in the U.S. this past year. To what extent, how many, I don't know. But a couple friends of mine said that at the recent convention he was at in the U.S., he was on oxygen and he was drinking milk through a straw. So it's sad to me because you see somebody who wore the original Godzilla suit and he was so strong to wear that monstrosity. Yeah, Godzilla monstrosity. Because, I mean, that suit was atrocious by building and construction standards. It was a nightmare. It was super heavy, and here he is. You know, it's a sad turn of events, but you know what? It's been very, so far, it's been very sad. But you know, for me, what it meant, what he meant, what Godzilla meant. He's been around in my life for as long as I can remember, and you know, there are a lot of movies from my childhood that I can think about. And, you know, there are a couple I can remember going to the theater and seeing. There's a local theater near me. I've seen it change over the years since I was a kid, you know, always coming back. I know exactly what theater I saw this movie in. But I saw King of the Monsters when I was at a cousin's house when I was 2. And I remember standing on the staircase, and the railing was wooden. And it was perfect because it gave me the chance to look up when I was seeing the really cool parts. And, you know, you'd see Godzilla attacking the city at night, and he'd be using his atomic breath. But also at the same time, you know, little 2-year-old Steven, whenever he's getting scared, you know, he could duck behind the railing. And I saw it on VHS, and my cousin loaned me that tape, and he didn't get it back in the best condition because it was nonstop. It was that Jurassic Park, everything else, you know. Eventually Jurassic Park, that completely got destroyed. So yeah, I mean, those two movies were things that I watched nonstop. But you know, seeing King of the Monsters, and then years later, sci-fi, I don't know what their deal was, but they had a license, whatever you want to call it, where they just played nothing but the Showa movies, what seemed to be nonstop. And I have on VHS in my basement somewhere Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, versus the Thing, Mothra, on Monster Island. You know, I have everything, everything just recorded off of the sci-fi broadcasts way, 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 way back when they were airing them. And during my childhood and my younger years, that's what I knew. You know, I just knew Showa. I didn't even know that Heisei existed until years later, because I was a little sheltered babby. So he was Godzilla for me. Okay, so Godzilla 2000 Millennium, that was something completely different. That was something new, and that blew my mind. But I didn't even know Heisei existed, those movies. So for me, the foundation, the building blocks, it was Nakajima. And what's upsetting for me as a fan, something that I'm sort of grieving in my own way, is aside from the loss of a legend, which Legendary actually acknowledged, which was really awesome. And as a side note, I did not see any particular action figure companies acknowledge. But anyway, you know, it was great to see that they acknowledged it. You know, that loss of a legend, personally, now that I'm starting to branch out, now that I'm getting older now, and I have the chance to really travel, because a lot of responsibilities are sort of going away for me, and I'm starting to come into different pathways. New routes are opening up in my life. I now would have the chance to go to the different events, the different conventions that he would normally be at. Sort of a spoiler coming up in a future update video. G-Fest is in the plans. I know he hasn't been there in a while, to my understanding, but G-Fest, New York Comic Con, Chiller, that's also something else that's really cool I'm looking into, but he won't be there. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things. Once I finally get the chance, that goes away. But that goes without saying, you know, that's a personal thing. That's kind of selfish, but, you know, over the past day, because right now I'm actually recording this at about 1:30 on August the 8th. So, you know, I found out earlier yesterday morning. It's still this morning. And, yeah, so the point is, I'm seeing a lot of people post their items signed by him. And, you know, I mean, that's really cool. It's really awesome. And, you know, I'm not going to have anything, which, again, it's totally selfish. And a lot of people might say it's a stupid thing, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know, I'm kind of rambling now at this point. I think I covered everything that I wanted to say. You know, that Nakajima was my Godzilla. Despite the fact that, you know, Showa, my opinions on that are pretty out there compared to the standard, but, you know, he was my Godzilla. And I'm not saying that the other actors are bad in any way, but when it comes down to it, he was the original. He was number one, and that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. And to know that moving forward, there are going to be other Godzilla movies that he will not get to have at least a minimal say in. He will never get to see. I don't know. It's weird. But the only thing I can say is best wishes to those survived by him. Best wishes to those close to him and who actually knew him one-on-one beyond just at the conventions, and him being so dedicated to that and those who are in a difficult time right now. Loss of a loved one is terrible, and I just seriously wish you all the best. And for all of us fans in this time, I'm with you. It sucks. And I would like you to just show your support for his memory and for his family just by maybe even reaching out to Toho on Twitter or Facebook or even email. I know they have a Los Angeles office, and just let them know that you're with them in some capacity. If you feel like maybe you want to do something, if that's something you would want to do, a call to action. But anyway, this video, I'm looking at the timer right now, is turning out to be much longer than I anticipated. I don't think many of you have made it this far, but if you have, Godzilla bless you. So, in short, my rambling, yeah, Nakajima has passed, and best wishes to those who are hurting right now. Best wishes to those that he held close, because he was a very dedicated man to his craft. Many, many movies were made possible because of him, and I am very, very grateful for his contribution to the genre, because without him, who knows where Toku and who knows where the kaiju genre, both of those genres, would be right now. So if you have a figure of the 1954 Godzilla, I would highly recommend making it a centerpiece in your display in the coming weeks and for the rest of the month of August. And if you haven't picked up the Criterion Collection release of the 1954 movie, I would highly suggest that you do so, because it is a fantastic release. And there will be a link in the description for you so you can pick that up, because it's an awesome release. I own it. I watch it from time to time. So thank you all so much for listening in, and I wish you all happy collecting for the rest of this year. Of course, there'll be more videos from me coming, and I'll address a few things in an upcoming update video. So take care, and I will catch you in the next video.